This indicator I'm about to show you finds the exact bottom of any stock. Using this, I cleared over 133 grand in just this past year. The crazy part is that it's free and a complete beginner can do this. So if you stick until the end and do exactly what I say in this video, you'll be able to bottom tick any stock you want. Let's dive in. Okay, so I made myself a little smaller here in the corner. Let's go ahead and start with SPY. Now, what I'm about to show you is life-changing, and you probably already used this indicator on your chart. Now, I'm going to go to the weekly chart and the daily chart. I'm going to show you a few examples. This applies to all time frames, though. I'm going to show you a few time frames. But the indicator that I actually use to catch these bottoms is volume. And it's not volume profile, not any crazy indicator you have to download. It's simply just the volume on the bottom of your screen here. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jordan, I've looked at volume, but there's no way this can actually tell me if price is going to bottom. But it actually can. I'm going to show you that in this video. In fact, here's what we're going to do right now. If we're looking at SPY, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. In fact, who cares? I'm going to go to a monthly chart. We're going to zoom back out here and go very, very deep. Actually, I'm going to go back to a weekly chart and I'm back on it. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, what I'm about to show you, if you simply just look at the volume candles here, what you want to notice is the length of them. Okay, the color doesn't matter. Forget the color for a second. All I want you to focus on is just how big the bars are, right? Now, if we're looking at SPY, you can see typically we kind of have a very clear range of where these volume bars like to be, right? I would say it's right around here. Okay, I would say this is a pretty good average. You can see a lot of times we get up there, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, kind of in this price range. We're, a little bit down here, but for the most part, we're kind of in this general area, right? Now, where does price typically bottom? What you want to notice is where we get these huge volume spikes, okay? You can see we have one right there. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see we can have one right here. We can have one right around here. And all I'm doing is just pointing out where we have these massive volume spikes, okay? If I zoom out even more, we have some more right here in the corner, and then we have another one right here, okay? Now, every time we get a massive volume spike above these, typical average bars on volume, and again, there's no numbers you need to look at. There's no moving average. It's just looking at eyeballing it, right? If we look at this, what happened to the actual stock, okay? If we go here to the most recent one, it ended up being an exact bottom, okay? Just like that. If I end up going to this little spike here, just like that, what do we notice? Same exact thing. Exact bottom from price to go right here all the way up for the next 3 months or 4 months of data. Same thing right here, right? We get a massive volume spike. Now in this instance, we only get about 1 week of another candle higher, right? If I zoom in here, you can see this is the exact candle we're talking about. We get one more week and then we end up going lower. And I'm gonna show you how to define whether that works or not in the rest of this video, right? But if we keep zooming out and we go back even further to these examples here, what do you notice in all these different times, right? We get here an exact bottom. They call the market crash in 2020. Same thing right here, end up being the exact bottom of SPY, just like that. And we end up reversing for a whole nother year to come. And then same thing right here, just like this. We get the exact bottom for same thing, about a whole nother year until we end up having another crash. So volume is the key indicator you want to look at. And when you see relative increased volume, that's going to be the identifier of when price actually decides to reverse. Quick interruption. Now, finding these stocks is incredible and catching these moves is amazing, but having a strategy to know exact entries and exit points is also crucial. So I made a free video for you. If you click the first link in the description, it goes over my one predictable pattern I use to trade all these setups. You can watch it for free after the video. Let's get back to it. Now, I'm going to show you another example right here on the 1 hour chart, so you can get a good idea of how this can work on a day trading or a smaller swing trading time frame. But the important thing to note here is even in the last example I showed you, there are a few times where it didn't always work. And that's what I'm going to get into here in a second. But if we take a look, this is Airbnb on the 1 hour chart, right? Now, obviously, if we look at these huge volume spikes like this is all due to earnings. Now, typically, I don't look at earnings. I don't usually use that as a way to confirm my reversals. It's kind of like an anomaly, right? So every time there's going to be earnings, of course, there's going to be huge volume. So I typically don't even look at those types of days. But let's look at, any other day where there isn't volume, right? Now, if I'm looking at a 1 hour chart, this is about, if we zoom out a little bit here, about a month or two worth of data. You can see from March 9th all the way to the end of April. So about 2 months of data. You can see it's very clear. We get one huge volume spike right here, okay? The average volume is basically nothing. It's barely getting off the chart. Right here, we get a huge spike. We also get 2 more kind of medium-sized spikes right here and also right here, right? And even if we zoom in on these kind of spikes here. If we just look at the past month worth of data or of price action, you can see we don't get anywhere near this type of height in these types of volume bars, right? It's typically all the way down here. So we have 3 different examples here, and let's notice what happens at each of these examples, right? Airbnb on this 1 hour chart is right here. We get a massive volume, right? We get a nice little hammer candle to kind of confirm that, and the price ends up going higher. Now on here, what do we see? It's actually the opposite, right? And you can use this to catch tops as well. We get a huge gap up, probably on some news. We see a massive volume spike right here, and what happens? Well, that ends up being an exact top for price to go down. Where does price go down? Right here into another volume spike. And just like that, if we zoom out, this ends up being the exact bottom right there for price to continue moving higher until we end up going up here and reaching back down for earnings, okay? So simply by looking at volume and looking for huge relative volume, that's going to show you exactly where these candles form. Now, how do you actually know if price is going to reverse or not, right? How do I know that this exact candle is actually going to bottom? Or how to, because sometimes it's not going to be 100% accurate, price is going to go down. Well, here's the confirmations that I want to use to look at that. And simply all you have to do is look at the next candle after it, right? So if this is the 1 hour candle on Airbnb and we go and look at the candle right after it, what happens, okay? We see that price ends up reversing and confirming our thesis that price moved the other way in the other direction. Now, sometimes if we look at this candle right here, so this is at 10:30, right? If price were to keep going down and continue making a new low after we get that volume spike, that tells me this is not a confirmed reversal, and we wouldn't want to take a long setup. But because the next trade after it, or the next candle after it, was a big reversal and it confirmed it, that led me to believe that this was going to work out. And again, these are not tops and bottoms that are going to happen for the rest of time, right? It's all due to time frame. So if we look at SPY or Airbnb on a 1 hour, we may get a bottom that lasts for a few hours. It may last for a few days or a few weeks. It all depends on the example that you're looking at. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at example like ES futures, right? So if we go to ES, I'm going to go to recent time. We're going to go to like 5 minutes, okay? So we're going to do this on a day trading time frame and see exactly what can happen, right? Let's just say we zoom out and we zoom in. Now again, same thing with ES. Every time at market open and at market close, there's going to be massive volume because that's when the market opens, the market closes. That's where everybody rushes to trade. So I typically don't look at those as well as volume confirmations because again, they're always going to be very high volume no matter where you're looking at it, right? Same thing here at market close. We get very high volume compared to the average day. But a lot of times throughout the rest of the day or the midday, you'll find some good examples. Now, if we're looking at ES here, right? So market opens right here, and we can see that the market closes right around here, just like that. If this is what we're looking at, okay, this is the volume. So from this candle basically here, all the way to this candle here, what do we see? We kind of see our average volume is like right around this area here, and then as the day fades, it kind of lowers to here. And then right here, around 2:20 p.m., we get a massive spike. Okay, now it's not that big, right? We don't get a crazy spike all the way up here, but we do get a big enough spike where if we look at pretty much the rest of the day, we don't see anywhere near that. And everything's relative, right? So if you're looking at a candle, you can look at the past 20 bars, you can look at the past 40 bars. You can kind of just eyeball and see, we don't see anything near this. Again, if we're assuming we're only trading up to today, and we're looking at these candles, right here we get a massive volume spike, okay? So what does that tell us? We say, okay, we have a massive volume spike right here. That tells us that we may see a potential bottom right here. What do? We wait for the next candle. And again, this is all on a 5-minute time frame. Does the candle confirm it? Do we start to reverse? Yes, we see a green candle. We don't continue moving lower. That tells us that there's a good chance this is going to be a bottom, and we can look to long at this candle right here, right? And then you can go ahead and set up your trade where you're saying, okay, I'm going to look to long in this area here, put my stop loss right below that low. You can target a nice 1R or 2R trade depending on where you're looking to get in and get out with your strategy. And simply using volume and understanding relative volume, you're able to easily capture these highs and lows of any stock that you're looking at, because every stock uses volume, and volume always determines price because that determines who's buying, who's selling, and all of the other above. Now, as I said, having a strategy is just as important as knowing when these bottoms happen, because you got to know where to put your stop. You got to know where to put your target, and being able to identify when these happen is crucial. Now, lucky for you, if you go to the first link in the description, I made a free training video just for you that will show you the one predictable pattern I use to trade all these setups, okay? So if you hit the first link in the description, it'll take you to another video where I'll show you my one predictable pattern that I use to find the setups along with these volume confirmations. So go ahead, hit the first link in the description, check out that video, leave a like, subscribe, comment if you're new about other videos you think I should make, and I'll see you all in the next video.